festival of the full moon night in the month of Kartik is a major family ritual for Deshpandes. The prayers on the day of Vaikuntha Chaturdashi are always held in the temple of Mahadev, whereas the prayers on the night of Tripuri, the philosophical discourse and offerings to Lord Gopal, and the singing of the hymns after the Prakshal Puja are always held before the idol of Lord Gopal. It was all smooth and orderly when Tatya, Abba's father, was alive. The mansion was a busy place then. Later, Abba shifted to Nagpur for the sake of children's education. Although the mansion was closed down, a priest had been appointed to offer puja and naivedyam to Gopal Krishna. The priest had access to the temple and lived in the adjacent room. Once in a while, Abba would come down to Umri from Nagpur to deal with the matters of the farmland. When Tatya was alive, and even afterwards, the celebrations on the full moon night of Kartik were never given a miss. And Raghunath had never failed to visit on this day after he had shifted to Rourkela. Then, how could he miss the event this time around? Although feeling disappointed because Raghunath had not arrived, Abba leads the singing of the prayers on the day of Vaikuntha Chaturdashi. He is accompanied on the drums by Master Tambori and in singing by Bakaram, Tatya Shenad, Janardhan Mause and Shivankar, the school teacher. Yet, the performance falls flat. The full moon of Tripuri Purnima rises and Raghunath arrives along with his wife and children. Both Abba and Nani are overjoyed with this arrival of their son, daughter-in-law and the grandchildren. The mansion is filled with chatter. The living room is full of people. And during the course of chit-chat, Raghunath shows the newly bought harmonium to Abba. He also suggests singing the usual prayers set to new ragas and announces his decision to narrate the discourse on the day of Gopal Kala by associating it with Nirgun Bhakti, devotion to Brahman without attributes, instead of Sagun Bhakti, devotion to the anthropomorphic deity. But Abba, who had been impatiently waiting Raghunath's arrival until the day before, who had hoped that Raghunath will carry forward the tradition, turns restless. He is reluctant to give up his post. He is unable to seamlessly enter the new flow led by Raghunath. He begins to feel that his temple, his songs, and he himself had grown quite old and worn. Yet, he cannot figure out the exact cause of his restlessness. But the next day, Raghunath prepares to give his sermon, and the love for his son makes Abba turn anxious. He begins to worry if Raghunath would manage to speak well. Raghunath's lecture turns out to be very impressive. The audience is spellbound, and the negativity in Abba's mind melts away. His mind clears. This story is from the short story collection titled Marwa and is written by the accomplished writer Asha Bage. This collection of stories that deftly captures the fleeting emotions, irrational feelings, and especially reflections of women's minds is the topic of the 97th episode of Granth Yatra today. Asha Bage was born in Nagpur in the year 1939. She did her masters in Marathi literature and in music. Her writing journey began with Satyakatha, the well-known Marathi magazine. In all, Bage has written 13 collections of short stories, 7 novels, and 2 books of light essays. Her novel Bhumi won the Sahitya Akademi Award in 2007. The stories compiled in Marwa were initially published in various magazines from 1976 to 1981. The collection was published in 1984. The second story in this book is called Unfaithful. Madhavi, the protagonist of this story, has just woken up from her sleep and is enjoying the morning that is blooming like a jasmine flower. Yet, as the day progresses, it turns out to be entirely murky for her. Madhavi learns about the suicide committed by a young woman from the laborers' community by jumping into the tank adjacent to Madhavi's home, and Madhavi becomes extremely uneasy. Her mind overflows with compassion for that unfortunate woman she has never met. But her husband does not understand Madhavi's empathy for the victim of suicide. These people end their lives and we have to bear the consequences. That's how he dismisses the event. Madhavi's children, her domestic helper, and neighbors find the administrative actions following the suicide as a source of entertainment. Madhavi is angry and sad because of this. After all, the relations we nurture as our own are truly assessed after events such as this, she feels. But the day passes, and the next day Madhavi finds her mind completely dissociated with the happenings of the previous day. None of the emotional surges of yesterday are apparent today. Everything has been wiped clean by the night's peaceful sleep. That's how real life is. Emotional upheavals, agitation, even righteous anger are but momentary. They are forgotten with the passage of time. That's what Bagge effectively portrays through this tale. In the story The Nest, Bagge explores an unusual relationship. Rajiv is a well-to-do but lonely man. He has developed a friendship with the couple Shyam and Mrudula. Not just a casual friendship, but he is like a member of their family. While enjoying the warmth of their familial ties, he begins to wonder if he had erred in his resolve of staying single, of not getting involved in any serious relationships in his own life, and limiting his associations to only physical needs. He begins to wonder if he has deprived himself of something fundamental. He begins to envy the simple joys and sorrows, little arguments and fights in the family life of Shyam and Mrudula. Bagge creates another unusual relationship between the characters of the story, The Birth. The topic of this tale is emotional support sought by a young pregnant woman from her middle-aged neighbor. It is Mrs. Dixit's first pregnancy, and she has no older relative from her maternal or marital family to provide support during this period. Naturally, she is a little anxious and nervous. The protagonist is aware that Mrs. Dixit is looking up to her for emotional support, and she has graciously accepted that role. In fact, she has never managed to register the experience of pregnancy with an objective mind, despite being a mother of 2 children. Through Mrs. Dixit's pregnancy, she hopes to experience the birth of a baby in a detached manner and without having to experience the labor pains. But when Mrs. Dixit is actually taken to the labor room, the protagonist is herself overcome with emotions. Bagge writes, "I should have been with Chitra. If I had expressed a desire, they might have allowed me in. But I didn't have the confidence to act as someone who would reassure the young mother. As if for me too, it was the first such experience, like Chitra. I sat on a couch outside the labor room. Chitra was experiencing the labor pains inside. As the gap between her pains reduced, I too began to experience pains originating from my back and spreading through my body. I too began to hold my breath in tandem with Chitra. Like her, I too began to stiffen my body with each spasm of pain. In the waning cold of December, I was drenched in sweat, and Mr. Dixit was pleading with me to lie down on the couch, to cover myself with a shawl as a protection from the cold, or at least to have some hot coffee. But I was beside myself. It was as if I was myself experiencing the labor pains, as if it was me on the labor table." Bagge's writings describe such experiences which are out of the box, and hence it appears authentic. In the story titled The Lame Girl, she paints a slightly unorthodox relationship between a successful middle-aged male author and a debutant but gifted young female writer. While in the story titled Relationship, she makes the readers contemplate on human relationships through the description of the accidental death of the protagonist's distant relative and the faithful servant of the household suffering a heart attack. Devendra, one of the major characters in the story Colors, has been living at a hospital for several months while he is recovering after meeting a major accident. His wife Manasi too has been spending her days at the hospital to keep him company. But she feels suffocated there while Devendra has accepted his predicament. He is an accomplished sitar player, and the music resonating in his mind has given him the strength to accommodate the fundamental change in his life brought about by the accident. Baghe's knowledge and her passion for classical music gives a new dimension to stories such as this one. In tales like Marwa and Colors, music is not used merely for background effects but is an inseparable part of the life of the characters and their viewpoint. Baghe writes, Devendra's music is in his head. He hasn't lost anything significant in the accident. Themes such as a woman suffering from the fear of other people's eyes because her mind is made vulnerable by her pregnancy, the compromises one has to make with values for the sake of promotion in job, the grief of a mother who has lost her infant child, the loneliness of an old woman towards the end of her life, and the society that is completely unaware of these personal sorrows are some of the themes explored by the stories in this book. Like an accomplished artist painting his picture with just a few attractive colors, Baghe uses the techniques of bold characterization, effective dialogues, and precise language to unfold these stories. Rukmini, another tale from this collection, is one of Baghe's famous stories. It depicts the romantic relationship between Renu, the daughter of the spiritual singer employed in the mansion of the Inamdar family, and Inamdar's son, Ananta. Baghe weaves a colorful narrative of a spontaneous friendship between the two protagonists who grow up together playing and fighting with each other. A rebellious Renu who does not wish to acknowledge this friendship once she grows up out of a sense of shame for her family's financial dependence. Her consent for marriage following Ananta's proposal, but her inability to accept Ananta's genuine love for her. Depiction of the delicate, undulating emotional world of these two characters is the success of this story. We have with us today Professor Madan Kulkarni to tell us more about these tales that gently unfold the soft layers of human emotions.
मारवा हा आशा बघे यांच्या 13 कथांचा संग्रह 1979 ते 1981 पर्यंत आणि त्यानंतर 2009 पर्यंत या कालखंडातील विविध नियतकालिकातून त्यांच्या कथा प्रसिद्ध झालेल्या आहेत. मारवाच्या लोकप्रियतेचे वैशिष्ट्य सांगायचे तर 7 आवृत्त्या आतापर्यंत या कथासंग्रहाच्या प्रसिद्ध झालेल्या आहेत. ज्या काळात दीर्घकथा या आकृतिबंधाची कोणी चर्चाही करीत नव्हते, त्या कालखंडात आशा बगे यांनी अशा काही दीर्घकथा लिहिल्या आहेत. आशा बगे यांच्या कथांना सांगीतिक संदर्भ आहेत. मराठीप्रमाणेच त्या संगीताच्याही एमे असल्यानं त्यांच्या कथांना एकीकडे सांगीतिक आयाम लाभलेला आहे, तर दुसऱ्या बाजूला कथाशय प्रभावी होण्यात त्याची मदतही झालेली आहे. संगीत आणि साहित्य यांचा मनोज्ञ अनुबंध त्यांच्या काही कथेत आपल्याला पाहायला मिळतो. आशयाच्या अंगाने स्वर, षड्ज, पंचम, सूर, आरोह अवरोह, चीज, मुखडा, अंतरा अशा काही सांगीतिक संकल्पना कथांमधून आलेल्या दिसतात. पण हे मुद्दाम घडवून आणलेलं नाही. कथाशयाचा अविज्य भाग असे याचे स्वरूप आहे, हे लक्षात घेतले पाहिजे. मारवा या कथासंग्रहाचे शीर्षकच संगीत क्षेत्रातील एका प्रसिद्ध रागाचे नाव आहे. मारवा म्हणजे आर्तता, अपूर्णता, शेवटपर्यंत एखादी गोष्ट न जाणे प्रत्यक्ष दृश्य जग आणि त्या आडचे जग यातील अंतर, व्याकुळता, तर कधी वैराग्याची भावना असे मारव्याच्या भाववृत्तीचे विविध मूड आणि वैशिष्ट्य असते असे संगीतज्ञ म्हणतात. मारव्याचा रे आणि ध आणि यमनचा निषाद हा अंगावर काटा आणणारे असे काही या गाण्याचे स्वरूप असते. सुधीर बोघेंच्या एका कवितेत मारव्याचं रागचित्र वर्णन करताना त्यांनी म्हटलं आहे, क्षितिजाचा षडज धुस्सर होतो, सूर्य मावळतो आणि क्षितिजाच्या ठिकाणी आकाश जमिनीला टेकल्यासारखे दिसते. आयुष्याच्या संध्याकाळची आठवण येते, एकटेपणसुद्धा जाणवते. शृंगाराच्या ठिणगीतून एक प्रकारचा विरक्त गारवा झिरपतो. नव्हे तो कवीला मारवाच वाटतो. मारव्याच्या या वैशिष्ट्याची छाया बगेंच्या एकूणच सर्व कथांवर कधीकधी प्रत्यक्ष तर कधीकधी परोक्षपणे पडलेली आहे. मारवा हा संधिप्रकाशी असा एक राग आहे. यात ऋषभ कोमल आणि मध्यम तीव्र असतो, दैवतवादी आणि ऋषभ संवादी असतो. यांच्या स्वरसंवादात तीव्र मध्यम मनाला विचित्र हुरहुर लावणारी उदासीनता प्रदान करतो. मारवा रागाचा हा स्वभाव असतो. मारव्याच्या या सांगीतिक स्वरूपाचा मूळ आणि भाववृत्तीचा विचार केला म्हणजे बगेंच्या या संग्रहातील कथांचा वेध घेताना हे लक्षात येते की त्यांनी योजलेले सांगीतिक संदर्भ पात्र जीवनाशी निबद्ध असतात. पात्रकथेशी ते समांतर जाणारे असतात. पात्रांची जीवनातील चढउतार, मनस्थिती या सर्वांचा या सांगीतिक संदर्भांनी आपल्याला कवेत घेतलेले असते. त्यामुळे त्यांची कथा व्याज प्रयोगशीलता, अमुक तमुक विचार प्रणाली यांच्या गदारोळापासून दूर राहते. तरी त्यांचे वास्तवातील संदर्भ भान आणि त्याचा धुसर प्रत्यय त्यांच्या कथांमधून प्रत्ययाला येतोच. भारतीय संस्कृती, परंपरा, तिचे टिकून राहणारे चिवटपण बगेच्या कथेत पाहायला मिळते. सापेक्ष स्थित्यंतराचा स्वीकार करणारी ही संस्कृती आहे हे बगे जाणवून देतात. नाशिकच्या जनस्थान पुरस्कार प्रदान प्रसंगी प्रसिद्ध नाटककार महेश एलकुंचवार म्हणाले होते, त्यांचे म्हणजे बगेंचे लिखाण ही एकांतात प्रगल्भतेने, जबाबदारीने समजून उमजून वाचण्याची गोष्ट आहे. ते साधे सोपे असले तरी ते पारंपरिक चौकटी ओलांडून आधुनिकतेकडे झुकणारे आहे. त्यांचे लेखन सर्जनशील लेखनाचे प्रतीक असल्याचे मत त्यांनी व्यक्त केले. बगेंचे लिखाण केवळ वेळ घालविण्यासाठी नाही तर मनाला चिंतनाच्या पातळीवर नेण्यासाठी, घेऊन जाण्यासाठी आहे. महेश एलकुंचवारांच्या या अभिप्रायानंतर यापेक्षा मी अधिक काय सांगू शकेन.
A lapse of mind when it is unfaithful to its own value system, an inability to provide emotional support to a dear friend despite a genuine desire, a deliberate betrayal of someone for a selfish reason, or hurting someone to protect one's image. Bage's stories bring alive these and other similar human behaviors through simple day-to-day events in life. At other times, they paint the emancipation of mind from being immersed in music, or through surrendering oneself to the love for one's family, or having nurtured a delicate relationship with scant respect to societal norms. A bubbling stream of life with ripples of good and bad, common and extraordinary, appears to be flowing through Bage's stories. Do read her tales in the collection Marwa. We shall meet again in the next episode of Granthayatra to listen to the tale of a person who overcame unfathomable hardships to live her life. Until then, keep reading.